Hi there, I'm Justin Pritchard, and in this video, we're checking out one of the market's ultimate pocket rocket sport utilities. This is the Porsche Macan Turbo, and momentarily, I'll be showing you how it incorporates many of the technologies that you'll find in Porsche's fastest sports cars to give shoppers a crossover thrill ride. But first, we're going to start with a quick look at its big brother. This is the Porsche Cayenne that I showed you last winter, and you're looking at the third generation of this high-performance SUV crossover. When it arrived in the early 2000s, the Cayenne was the first ever SUV from a brand that only ever built sports cars, and that raised a lot of eyebrows, but most Porsche owners did park their 911 or Boxster next to a German-built luxury SUV in the garage, so why not? And it worked, too. Today, Porsche sells a lot of these. And one of the reasons why is that a boatload of the tech, hardware, engineering, and performance upgrades born in Porsche sports car models are applied directly here as well, to give drivers the Porsche of SUVs. And this Macan Turbo, finished in $3,600 worth of optional Carmine Red that's as creamy as melted lipstick, is the Cayenne's little brother. A more compact taste of the brand's crossover driving experience, and for many, this will be their first Porsche, and maybe not their last, if it leaves a good impression. And in Macan Turbo spec like this one, well, you'll be leaving an impression in your seat back whenever you drop the hammer. This is the highest performing Macan currently on offer, and it's built to satisfy hungry appetites for a high-end luxury crossover thrill ride wrapped up in those tastefully restrained visuals. My favorite thing, not a speck of chrome to be seen. Outside, it's brimming with intricate details and touches as you'd expect in a high-end product. In this color configuration with Macan's curvy body, the Carmine Red paint makes it look sopping wet, and the glossy accents and clean edges keep the eyes busy, and to me it looks far more athletic than flashy. This would make a great-looking Hot Wheels toy, and actually the key sort of looks like one. You start the engine with a twist of your left hand, the forward scenery glows to life, and the signature Porsche stuff all comes into view. For instance, the digital performance readout, fully customizable to keep your eyes on all aspects of the driveline and suspension, G-forces, and more. You can manipulate all of this on the fly using this little dial on the steering wheel. Or the spaceship center console, with 2 rows of control buttons flanking the aluminum-trimmed shifter and classy Macan name plaque. That's derived from the Indonesian word for tiger, by the way. Elsewhere, the cabin is nicely detailed and trimmed and put together with a tasteful blend of aluminum and stitching and glossy carbon fiber. It's about as rich as you'd expect, given the price tag. Of course, you get the signature Porsche Tachometer front and center, this one with the innocent-looking turbo script on its face as your constant reminder of the rocket launcher acceleration this particular Macan keeps discreetly in its back pocket. This drive mode dial is just like the one you'd find in a 911 or Taycan. That's O for normal, sport, sport plus, and an individual mode that you can customize yourself. Flick the dial to choose your currently desired mix of comfort and performance. In Sport Plus, it's all systems go for maximum thrills with the suspension, steering, transmission, engine, driveline, traction management, and more, all recalibrated in milliseconds to turn Macan Turbo from a leisurely touring machine into a little beast. By the way, that button in the middle engages Sport Response Mode. That's all the dials crank to 11 when you want maximum speed as quickly as possible. Everything wakes up the millisecond you finish clicking that button. The turbochargers even pre-spool for faster throttle response. And what's even more entertaining than having that proverbial maximum power button is how immediately it leaves the Macan feeling provoked. And that is one of the signature Porsche sports car driving experiences that's translated directly into this machine, and there are many more too. Here we go now. paddle shifters for the 7-speed gearbox, a twin-clutch unit like you'd find in a 911 for those lightning-fast hair-trigger shifts that arrive with perfect rev matching in both directions. And this transmission feels even more precise the harder you're on the throttle. You can let it do the shifting for you if you like, but the paddle shifters here are about as good as those get. Actually, using them is quite entertaining. Signature Porsche steering feel too. In sportier modes, heavy and fast, that makes it entertaining, but importantly, also easier for the driver to be very precise, which helps with smoothness. And smoothness helps with precision when you're driving with intent. Result, at the tips of your fingers, it's a performance driving toolkit and you grin because of how sharp and encouraging and playful it feels. In Sport Plus mode, everything is hair trigger, so every touch of any control generates G-forces immediately, forwards, backwards, or even sideways into the thick bolsters of your seat. You immediately feel every input or change you make, and that's the definition of responsive performance. Sounds help make the performance too, and the optional sports exhaust kit is a fun toy with push-to-toggle access to either a tastefully restrained exhaust sound or something a little more serious. The driving enthusiast will love the array of mechanical sounds from the engine and driveline if they go listening for them at full throttle. On full braking, there are tremendous G-forces against your seatbelt. Macan Turbo bites hard, even if I'd still say it's BMW with the best brake pedal feel in this game. In the Macan, targeted cooling provisions help keep the feel and stopping power consistent in heavy use. So that's a cast iron rotor that's coated with a super thin but very tough layer of tungsten carbide, and the calipers are white because they're kind of showing off a little bit. With this setup, there's actually virtually no brake dust, and I've put 1,200 kilometers or so on this particular vehicle now, and these calipers are still basically clean as a whistle. Meaning you can enjoy your great looking wheels and brakes without all of the messy brake dust. So those brakes are made to last, look good, and to be worked hard. The engine does its best work when you work it hard too, but you'll need to be careful. Under the hood, it's twin turbos on a 2.9-liter V6, good for 434 horsepower. That is big power in something this size, and the pull at higher revs is very serious and delivered across some tall gearing. That means you never get more than a quick moment or two of full throttle before you're in the demerit point danger zone. The Macan Turbo is a bit overkill on the power for a machine of its size, I think, and of course that's the point. If you're after something more modest, I'd recommend the Macan S. It's my bang for the buck favorite with 350 horsepower that you can enjoy more fully more of the time. There's also the sportier GTS, both will save you some serious dollars without sacrificing too much of the grins. It's always nice to have choices after all, and of course there are no shortage of custom add-on options that let you really make it your own if you're willing to pay up. I found a comfy snug fit in the driver's seat. The thick sports bolsters give you a pretty sturdy hug, and they can be heated or ventilated too. At 5'10", I didn't find it too tight, but definitely not stretch out spacious either. The driving position within the vehicle feels more sporty and athletic than it does in the larger Cayenne if you're wondering. I found the rear seats a little stuffy up around my head for larger grown-ups, but the kids should be just fine, and the cargo space is roughly as expected, complete with a motorized tailgate with push to lock. Two gripes to conclude. First, my tester has Apple owners covered with CarPlay, but the Android owners like me have no Android Auto, and that is a bit of a bummer. Also, and obviously, if you drive the Macan Turbo the way it was meant to be driven, it will put fuel away fairly quickly. All said, Macan Turbo is a spicy taste of the look, feel, sounds, and thrills that the brand is known for. It ships in top dog turbo spec with a full arsenal of engaging technologies that let drivers be the boss of every detail of that Porsche driving field. With over $20,000 in optional add-ons pushing the price of this particular tester well into six-figure territory, it is the ultimate Macan for the enthusiast after everything that it has to offer. But don't worry, there's still a very good taste of the Porsche driving experience to be had in more affordable variants too. Thanks for watching.
Here we go now.